Hello, I'm Jackson Tyler, and this is Unrest. Welcome to the second episode of this game. I've talked to everyone here. We are playing as Chitra, who has come to the city of Bimra for the Naga Empire, or just the Naga people. Bimra is a city that used to have an empire, and we're trying to negotiate this treaty. I am talking to the others. Who else do I have left to talk to? Oh, that one. Oh. I thought it was all done. Dinesh and Caroline. Is it that guy? It said they were in here. Oh, they're my guys. Okay, Dinesh, I got a good look at the way the slums are situated on my way in. Technically, they don't occupy any of what's considered Bimra's original footing. No right and one argument, but I think it could be argued they aren't subject to Bimra's laws. Certainly don't seem very interested in enforcing much order out there. Okay, that's less than satisfactory. We've got refugees out there that deserve some protection. It's fair, the slums don't really matter. No, they do. Yeah, that's less than satisfactory. They deserve protection. Good. That's a reasonable stance to take, but I imagine if there weren't so significant logistical troubles involving peace up there, they'd already been doing it. People seem rightfully scared of the slums. I'd be interested to see what plans the humans have for them. So if he's there, then there you are. Have you been long in the city? As long as you know the slums, to give the slums a wide berth, there are many fine things to see here. A walk might be in order after treaty slum. People live in the slums, for God's sake. Oh. I'm sure there'll be much to do, and perhaps it can be arranged. I know what happened. Yeah, it's just funny. In all serious, I'd be pleased to give you the tour. Don't worry about the slums. They have an excellent armed guards. Don't trust the city plotters. They've never seen anything outside a drill. Intrigued. Okay, yeah, sure. Why not be frank about things? I have a great respect for the Naga Empire. I want them to respect us. I know you wouldn't have come out here if you were blind to our empire's weaknesses. So why not get that point out into the open and move on to more pressing matters? Let's keep questioning him. So he's interested in my interest. The reverse is true as well. Just remember that whatever we grant you today, Bimra will always have more to offer. Good luck and cool. It keeps bringing up traits, but I don't have any new traits, so I don't know what it's talking about. Oh, there's those guys. Where do I go now? Oh, so that's where the king and queen is, and that's that side, so maybe if I go in that direction, I'll find lower ranking officials to talk to. Who are you? My name's Praveen. If forgive me, I'm just here to oversee the garden. 30 years of advising the Treasury was enough politics this lifetime. But yeah, well, it looks good. I'll be honest, I didn't used to know a thing about gardening. A year ago I realised that it was getting to the point where every palace administrator with that billhook in his hand was going to have to turn his attention to the slums and all that unpleasant business, so I picked up a billhook. Haven't looked back since either. Yeah. He's fairly he's wary though. I'll be bold. What can be done when there is nothing to be done? I realise not everyone can adopt such a carefree attitude about our city's inevitable crisis, but for a year now, whenever anyone has tried to engage me in the matter, all I can think is there's nothing I can say or do to help, so I garden. It's wonderful work. That is why I should take. Well, now I've got two things that I'm good at. Planning gardens and saying unpleasant truth. You see why I prefer a career in the former. No, best of luck to you. Oh, the way I talk about the sun is making me deeply uncomfortable. Time is not something I can afford. Hey, I'm called Kushi. I've been asked to show you some of the garments I sew in the village if it pleases you. Okay, she's intimidated by me, but she's also reveres me. I'm going to be very, very kind to her. I'm afraid we aren't permitted inside the city not anymore. A few peasants left and didn't come back, and now your guest is very careful. I'll sell these to traders that come to the village, but even they are coming less than this option. I'm sorry they didn't hear all this, please. Excuse me. Alright, goodbye. Did the riots when we arrived not worry you? I knew Bimmer was sheltering our refugees to soften us toward the trade agreement, but I was starting to worry for their safety. I think I ought to go to the slums and see things for myself. The whole reason I came here was to see their education and integration into Bimmer's society. I feel like the right answer is to go out and see what's going on, but yeah, I'll do it. We'll talk later tonight. Until then, I think I have to shoot in the west. Sure, yeah. Talk to both of them. For some reason those aren't going away. All the other maps go away, but those two aren't going away. Maybe I'll talk to more of them later. Let's head to the other side of the map. Cool. Warm greetings, my name is Kanika. I am priestess and advisor to the royal family. I've been asked to offer you apologies for their lateness. We'll remain patient. I have to admit I'm a little more comfortable with face-to-face talks than formal political meetings. If you're finished with all the other business here, I'd like to talk to you about a few things before the treaty signing is underway. Sure. I know there were angry mobs when you entered. There's a young priest in the temple district, a man named Ranveer, who brings bread to slum dwellers. Apparently he's been claiming that the Naga refugees in our slums are responsible for Bimmer's continued misfortunes, as though you caused the drought just by being here. He's a lunatic and will bring him to heel. But he's not the root of the problem. You already don't like us. You don't like you yet. It's a lot of fear and prejudice to overcome. Most already have, but they stand to profit. I suppose the slums fear that not enough of the food will make its way to them, or perhaps they're just more superstitious. We're taking steps. We've hired a mercenary captain and his company to provide a permanent defensive perimeter around the slums and prevent anyone crossing over into the city proper where... Alright, I'm going to start negotiating now. Okay. Cool. go. Here we go. Here's the negotiation time. We're going in the middle. Of course. Right. Since we're already running late, we'll have to skip the fun parts. No introduction, chatting, food tasting, any of the stuff that makes you want to get up in the morning and actually sign one of these things. Well, the policy sign. Really? I wish we had a few nobles like you. I think Vijay here is about the only man in Bimra who can ride a horse and do a decent day's walk. Yeah. He's been jokey, I'm going to be jokey too. Right, you are. Now would you like to begin? Alright. This negotiation is going well. Here we go. I want to talk about the mob first, but I don't think I've been stern enough for the other people. We are here to discuss the terms of the contract. Oh, this is a hard choice. Because I want to set the I want to dictate the discussion, but I don't know which one. Let's set up the contract first. Right. We're pleased to know that most of what you offer we are prepared to accept outright. We're not going to haggle over trade or schedules you prepared. Our only concerns regards your immigrants. 100 merchants, craftsmen, and skilled labourers over the next month. What seems to be the problem? We understand the needs of the Naga Empire. Bimra slums are a constant reminder of how poor environments can jeopardise honest tradesmen. But that's the first problem there. We can't guarantee your skilled workers will find employment in the city, not when so many of our own have been rendered destitute. Our trade will make our city, our merchants rich. The economy will be restored. Yep. In the balance of time, perhaps we're taking a while to do more harm than good. We'll take some of them now. Okay. Yeah, well. My biggest concern, this is not in character though, this is my biggest concern, is what they're going to do about the people in the slums. Like, people are being let down and they're all being demonized and like shut out and locked out, and that's not okay. And I don't want to do what, maybe if I do this then I can push on the, when we talk about the angry mob. Yeah, alright, I'll do that. Much unreasonable. It will still be problematic, but less than okay. We had meant to talk to you about the unfortunate anti-Naga sentiment in some parts of the city. We really do not believe it constitutes a threat after all the Naga refugees remaining in our slums live for even half a month. How will you address the situation? We're not sure exactly what the roots of discontent are. Ignorance, I suppose, unjustified fear of Naga, but we know. The roots of the situation are the fact that you have allowed all your people to become poor and blame scapegoats, rather than the fact that this is just a difficult situation. You're not managing it well. You're living in a palace while they're living in a slum. What do you expect? But we know the mob is the work of one priest Ranveer. Perhaps Kanaka has already told you about him. A lot of people listen to him. Why we'll never know. Vijay has been speaking with him personally. What has he learned? Ranveer is unusual. He claims that the Bankamundi, whose temple he serves, has sent him a vision of how to end the drought and bring prosperity to the slums. It involves many things, but the key point is we should shun your empire. It was not responsive to most of my attempts at negotiation. Perhaps I should meet with him. I'm sure he'd be willing to speak with you, but he'd be willing to listen to me and others. Those are the two choices. You'd think, I have few plans myself that require resources and we are rather thin on those for reasons that will be explained shortly. Okay, yeah, we'll help you out here because I want to make sure the slums are safe, but I want to... Vijay, you've already heard that much of our process of the training extent will go towards We'll go towards retaining the services of a mercenary company that will provide a barrier between the city proper and the slums. This is not okay. With luck, I don't want it. No, go it towards making the slums better. Oh my god. How does this concern us? Nugget immigrants will not be easy to house. We will need to clear out areas of the slums to provide housing for them as well as some of our own city dwellers. Obviously, this means mercenaries are in your interest as much as well as yours, which is why I wanted to show their effectiveness personally. Okay. It is long past time a representative of the Naga Empire met with your refugees in the slums. Currently this is not possible, therefore I propose that once our mercenaries arrive, you, my wife and myself venture out into the slums under the personal guard of these men. If you will go with me, I see no reason to fear. Well, that went okay. You're going into harm's way for the sake of an empire. Advisor, some conceals risky overruled, smart, and yep. Cool. Let's be heading back. Oh, Rhea. Hi, Rhea. You're going to go with them into the slums, are you sure about this? It's risky, yes, but it's a good faith gesture. Yep. Peace. We just listened to half an hour of people telling us how much they love the Naga, while meanwhile, just beyond the palace wall, there are riots breaking out because we dared to show up. This place isn't in peace with itself, you're right. Okay, yeah, exactly. That's what they need to do. They need to give the food to the people in the slums. We need to be helping the people who are worse off in order to stop them blaming us. Right. Don't know about this. Neither do I, but I live a history memory forever. That's a better deal than many else will get. That's not what I mean. I mean, I can't shake the feeling that nothing we did just matters. I feel like when they tell the story of Bimmer and the Naga Empire 100 years from now, they'd spend a breath on what Chitra accomplished at the party before moving onwards to the great, vast, and terrible inevitability. And I'm afraid neither of our peoples are doing anything to prevent it. Please just okay. The deal was signed later that night. 2 months later, Chitra would venture out with the royal family, the court spy Vijay, and a contingent of Shaz's mercenaries to serve as Beauregard. Oh no, Chitra died! Only Vijay and the mercenaries would return. Acting in the chaos... Wait, the royal family died? Acting in the chaos, Vijay gathered support from the nobles to form a temporary council with him, ruling council with him at the head. Yeah, of course he did. Shan was charged with keeping further riots at bay. Unruly outlying farms would be managed by the recently widowed noblewoman Lakshmi. Ranveer would represent interests of the priests in the slums. To appease the Naga Empire, Rhea was appointed Minister of Trade. Months passed, the temporary council failed to dissolve, whispers of foul play faded, and the still and monsoons failed to return. Oh, well that's not good. Okay. I don't know what the point of the first thing with the princess, but I guess maybe we'll come back to her. You are Tanya, a peasant, 15 years old. Tanya sometimes catches word of what's happening in the other villages, and it's never good. Merchants arrive with rumours of open revolt, only to whisper hushed warnings about spies within the populace, watching and waiting for any sign of rebellion. However, Tanya's village has not seen any violence. Lakshmi, the noble woman in charge of the farmlands, has run this village personally ever since the death of her husband. Her soldiers keep one half of the peace, and tradition keeps the other. In the midst of this, Tanya is about to be married. It is not long before her future and that of the village will be decided. Right, I'm glad we've gone down to a lower level now. I wanted to see things that aren't just, you know, big shot royal folk talking about the slums. Okay, there you are. Why is it you always mope off alone when Dewey's busy with work? Couldn't you find anyone else to amuse yourself with, instead of skittering off into some dark hole like a beetle? Good morning to you. That's not pleasant. That is sarcastic. It's not good for you, or you or Dewey. You've both got such small families, so you're going to need to have lots of friends to help with little crises once you've got your own households. I like Tanya as just Daria, I guess. Nobles, I like things real clean, simple. They're peasants to do what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do without any fuss. Because when things are bad, and they have been plenty bad lately, they like knowing that some little thing isn't going to be the fire that burns their field to the ground. So when it comes to keeping us right, they aren't too subtle. And the parents wanted to talk to you. I think they've been looking for you all morning. Yeah, alright. Let's go talk to him. Let's get close. Let's look at my journal. Traits. Intelligent. Loner. Well, that's not very strange. Active quest. Parental mandate. According to Rada, my parents want to see me as soon as possible. Going on past experience somehow doubts would be good news. Ooh, okay, well. Okay. Dear is the local buyer and seller of goods. There's a little trade between the city and the village. You're not sure what the circumstances of his birth were, but he did fight in a war a few decades ago. The merchants come for very brief jaunts every once in a while. No one you know that have spoken with it. Rough, hard-bitten men. None of them are from the village, and none of them are allowed to speak with the peasantry. Man deep. The village doctor, which is to say Lakshmi's doctor. He's absolutely never spoken to as a peasant unless he has to, but in his dealings with his societal equals and superiors he seems perfectly laid back and genial. Payal, a young girl, bright and active, she likes you a lot, pretty much. Listen to pretty much whatever you say, Harish. Honest, hard-working man, proud of his family. Nilaya, you vaguely heard that Hanu has a grown sister, but she's always kept to herself and her peasant husband, and you've never spoken to her. And yet you get the sense she doesn't like you. Well, that's probably because she never spoke to you. Nida's a friend of your mother. In another life, she could have been a member of any ruling council in the world, and this one she runs her household with astounding finesse and energy. Your aunt is a willful, lovely woman with very strong opinions. She's grown to love your uncle, but they disagree frequently. Your uncle is a hard-working, earnest, pleasant man, not unlike your father. Your aunt runs him ragged sometimes, right? Hanu's father and mother. Cool. Final page. Hanu. The son of the town's merchant caste denizen. You avoid him and he avoids most of the village, but you've heard he's surly and prone to aggressive outbursts. Let's avoid him then. Rada, the oldest woman in the village. She gives a lot of advice to a lot of people, and it's not always what people want to hear. Lakshmi. She's owned this land ever since her husband died, and in the past few years she's snapped up dozens of others on top of it. You hear she's part of Bimra's council, but all that means to the village, she's gone more often, leaving her hand-picked squad of guards to enforce her uncompromising order. Shuhi. She's about the only person you really look forward to seeing, and the only other girl you don't know hasn't really... The only other girl you know who hasn't looked forward to being betrothed. Yeah, fair enough. I don't look forward to being betrothed. Father, at times doting, at times exasperated. Your mother and father have been through high times, but hard times never hard. It's really good to be able to not talk when you're recording a Let's Play. Time's never harder than this. Your father's toy-making abilities brought in some extra money, but from the outside, the occasional borrowed or rented book are all that separate you from every other peasant family. Cool. Inventory. Old woollen elephant. Earrings. Some relatively nice earrings, a preemptive wedding gift from your aunt and uncle. Handful of royal coins. Cool. I don't really have anything. So does my dad. Tanya, there you are. We've got good news. Wonderful news. I know you weren't really looking forward to this day, but I've done well as any parents could. Time for me to get married, I guess. Oh, come on. I've agreed for you to marry Honey, the merchant caste boy. If all goes well and Honey comes into his heritage, you will one day be a merchant's wife. I'm going to be defiant. I knew it. I knew that would be the first thing out of the girl's mouth, as if his status didn't matter, as if a wife is powerless to change who her husband is. And no gratitude for the earth and the sky we had to move to make this happen. Just the same stubborn rejection she would have given any man we picked. I'm sick of this, Tanya. I'm sick to death of this. What are you trying to say? You have no idea how hard we worked to ensure you a husband who might take you away from this village. You don't care how much the thought of marrying someone who might actually take you to the city broke our hearts. But we did it because times are getting harder and more villagers are eating themselves, and we wanted to give you a way out of it. So if you don't like that way out just because the boy attached isn't the most sweetest natured groom in the village, I don't want to hear about it. We already arranged this with the parents. Tomorrow morning we're bringing out the dowry out of Lakshmi's vault. Between now and then you go to Hanno and straighten out any possible enmity. I know that word. That's not a difficult word. For some reason I just tripped up on it. I'm bad at life. That might exist between the two of you. Be politer to him than you've been to your own parents. Tanya, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm 15 years old. God. Okay. That's something neater. Okay, yeah, good. Good one. Be a resentful teen. Locations. Taxila, you know the University of Taxila is a week's journey by horse, and anyone regardless of wealth or standing can work their way towards an education there. Lakshmi doesn't want any of you to know even that much, but then no one you know takes much of an interest in the university anyway. Lakshmi's estate. No peasant is allowed on Lakshmi's estate unless they have specific instructions to go there or they're being tried and punished. The country. The land your village occupies, sometimes referred to as the She-Wolf's Den. From a legend about its founding, used to be adjacent to a very lucrative trading route. Hard times have undercut the stability of the village, both economically and socially, and yet from what you hear of uprisings all over the countryside, peace is precious. You've nothing to compare your village to, but reports of the city and neighbouring farms. From the sounds of it, the city is overrun with disease, evil naga, and slum-dwelling thugs and murderers. And the other farms are in revolt. History of the village. Most of what you know is gossip and rumour. The village and surrounding farms belong to Lakshmi's husband until his death from illness. It should have gone to his family, but instead it went to her, and she's ruled it with a steady hand and a sharp lack of tolerance ever since. Travellers from the city have told you that she's been a member of its ruling council ever since the king and queen died, and from the way she embarks out every so often, she seems to be overseeing many farms besides this one. You've little idea what's going on in the city. You heard that some sort of ruling council replaced the king and queen when they died a year back. The poor and the starving are being saved by a priest named Ranveer, and the Naga are to blame for a lot of shit. Okay, well, yeah. Well, you know what? That's going to do it on that bombshell there for this episode of Unrest. I'm Jackson Tyler of abnormalmapping.com. I don't know what's happening. This game is really cool so far. I've not been doing much analysis of it because I've been reading it out, but it's a cool game and I'm interested in what's going to happen next. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.